In Kengan Omega chapter 123, we got some setup for 2 fights, one of them being the other Niko, also known as the Tiger Niko by the fandom, versus our boy Muteba. Today I'm giving my thoughts on the fight and some predictions. If you haven't already, subscribe and press the like button for a potential high five if you're lucky. But now, let's begin. Muteba comes flying in trying to kill the Tiger Niko, but his attack is blocked by a dead body, which of course is pretty badass. And based on what Niko was saying prior to that attack, it did seem like he had already been aware that Muteba was preparing to attack. Muteba begins talking. "You just made the wealthiest man in this country your enemy. Beware of his guard dog." Of course, this was referring to the CEO of Purgatory, who had asked Muteba to do something for him like 20 chapters ago, and him fighting the Tiger Niko probably ties in with what he said to do. And this little exchange between them has piqued the interest of the Tiger Niko to actually go and fight Muteba. So yep, absolute hype. Now I'll go over a few things to remember about Muteba. As many might initially think the Tiger Niko will absolutely low diff clap Muteba, but you could be 100% wrong. Take note, this is information we got about him during Ashura. Muteba's a master of silent killing, who survived more battlefields than you can count. No one can match him in a fight without rules. And of course, this fight with Niko is without rules, having the intent to kill each other, and Muteba is already using a knife. Before anything, he's a mercenary, a blind mercenary to be precise, having insane adaptation, which can pretty much be described as robot-like. His special move, the heart jab, a one-shot kill technique, and my guess he has other moves he wasn't able to use during the Kengan Ashura Annihilation Tournament that we'll get to see in his fight against Niko, and he does have various other Chinese like pressure point moves and stuff like that, like anti-grappling techniques. Apart from being a pretty badass Sith Lord, he's a one-man army that we're going to finally see his true potential, fighting in his preferred way at his peak with prep time and all. And looking at him in chapter 123, you just see absolute confidence. And he's a character that somewhat reminds me of Muteba from Bucky. And if you've read the first Bucky Do manga, you know the greatness of Warrior Muteba. So Mercenary Muteba may have a similar vibe to him and could shock everyone. But now let's talk a little bit about the Tiger Niko. He can pretty much be considered a legend in the Kenganverse at this point, going around spawning various OP techniques. He's a master of the Niko style. He created the Formless style, already 2 of the most broken in the verse, and I personally think the Niko is the best in the verse, and Formless can arguably be the best or second best or third, but definitely 2 of the best in the whole verse. He created the Advanced and Fallen Demon to expand the Niko style, 2 of the most broken abilities in the Kengan series. And apart from all that, he's the master of characters like Kanogito, my personal pick as the peak of the verse, Kiryu Setsuna, Lu Tien, and Fei Wangfang, who's currently fighting against Waka with his evolved Niko style. And it does kinda imply he's a master of Oma, but we know what happened in the backstory. All he did was kinda punch Oma's heart and give him advance. It wasn't really like a master-student training session or something like that. With everything I've already mentioned, that's insanely impressive, but there's more. He's one of the 3 members of Worm with the most authority, alongside the head and Edward Wu. So this could very well mean he's in the top 3 strongest of Worm, or maybe something else regarding the line, the most authority. We learned more about what happened 12 years ago in the Inside, where he was knocked out by Oma's Niko, but he also states that he's trained for those 12 years since then. So it's safe to say he's an absolute monster at this point. Now let's go over how I think his fight against Muteba will go. So Muteba has been prepping stuff for quite a while now, so I don't think he just has a knife in his hand. He probably has various other weapons or things he can use during this fight to maybe catch the Tiger Niko off guard. But a big issue is we haven't actually properly seen the Tiger Niko fight. Like, we have seen little glimpses of his fight with Oma's Niko in flashbacks and in the past little mini arc, but we haven't actually seen what he does during a fight. So this is going to be a first. He could maybe focus on the Niko style, but we do have a lot of stuff from Lu Tien that talks about him leaving the Niko style, which I believe is contradicted with everything that's happening with Faye now. So it's pretty clear that he still uses the Niko style and maybe can switch between using the Niko style and Formless, or potentially has fused them together in some way. We can most likely expect a dirty fighting style coming from Muteba in this fight, as his only goal is to kill the Tiger Niko. And the Niko does seem like someone who would also fight dirty as well, so various underlying tactics and various, I guess, scummy tactics will be used throughout this fight, something we haven't really seen in Kengan thus far, as most of the fights we've seen have been in a tournament setting with rules, but this is of course a to the death fight with no rules. I do think for some reason that Muteba's blindness and him wearing shades will actually play a part in this fight. Maybe the Tiger Niko will have no information about Muteba, so he won't know he's actually blind, and may focus on potentially blinding Muteba, and him trying to do that may allow Muteba to end up landing a stab or some strike on the Tiger Niko, catch him off guard, as Muteba's already blind, so whatever Tiger Niko does, thinking it would, limit Muteba, won't actually be effective. But for some reason, I don't think this fight is going to have a climax. I think either other worm members will arrive to assist the Tiger Niko, and Tiger Niko will say, I have better things to do. I talked a little bit about this in my recent chapter review. If you haven't watched that, make sure to do so. But yeah, potentially other worms coming in to deal with Muteba, and maybe at some point we'll see Muteba slaying a mini army of worm members trying to catch up to the Tiger Niko, while the Tiger Niko does something else, like running into the likes of Joji and Cosmo's Master, or maybe someone like Kuroki. But if I had to be honest, I want him to end up fighting Kano Ghidorah at some point, as we all saw Kano's reaction when he revealed himself on that screen. So Kano could potentially be on the hunt for the Tiger Niko now as well, but I don't think so. He's probably just chilling watching the fight between Wakura and Faye, and may end up seeing that sometime in the future. However, another thing to consider that may happen during this fight is Muteba actually withdrawing. As we know, he's a mercenary, but he also values his own life above most other things, regardless of the amount of money he'll get from the CEO of Purgatory, and maybe the trust he has with the CEO of Purgatory. He will definitely withdraw if he's in the threat of being killed, and considering who he's fighting, that could be the case, and we could have Muteba just giving up and hitting legs. But hopefully we don't get something like that. Hopefully they fight one another and maybe some insane injuries do happen, but I just do have a feeling that there won't be a climax. Either other worms will come in to deal with Muteba, or Muteba will end up withdrawing. I don't think Muteba is going to actually defeat and kill the Tiger Niko. If he does, Sanjo is an absolute crazy mad lad. But yeah, that should be everything for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. As always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys, peace.